Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome, Valorant beginners. At least I'm assuming you're a Valorant beginner if you clicked on the title of this video, or you're just interested in the title known as Valorant. In this video, I will be explaining how to play Valorant and what it's all about. First, I'm going to start off with the point of the game. The point of the game is it being a 5v5 first-person shooters with attackers taking the spike, which is known as the bomb, and taking it and trying to plant it on sites that are being defended by defenders, hence their names. Each round is a minute 40 in length, and each round is preceded by a buy phase, which lasts 30 seconds. In the buy phase, you buy guns as well as set up your positioning on the map. Each team takes turns attacking on the map. You have 12 rounds and a half, and the first team to 13 wins the game. However, in competitive play, you must win by 2. Now you may ask, what makes Valorant unique? In Valorant, there are people called agents in the game, and players who play the game must select an agent to hop into a match. When you queue into a game, you are prompted by your agent select screen where you must log in a agent. Each agent falls into 4 unique groups, those groups being Controller, Duelist, Initiator, and Sentinel. Each character has unique abilities. Usually it's 3 abilities as well as an ultimate. These abilities are what makes characters fall into certain groups. Controllers usually have abilities that cut off sight lines for defenders and vice versa attackers. Initiators usually have abilities that reveal players, so they initiate sight pushes for when attackers try to take the sight from defenders and try to kill them. Duelists typically are the ones that follow up on initiators' abilities and take fights, and they have abilities that help them do that, take fights. And lastly, sentinels usually have utility that can get information defensively and are good for covering flanks and stuff like that. Lastly, I'll explain ultimates. There are things called ultimate points in the game, and they are things that charge your character's ultimates. There are 4 main ways of getting these ultimate points. The first of which being getting kills. Each kill you get gives you 1 ultimate point. The second being dying. Dying gives you an ultimate point. The third one is planting or defusing the spike. That will give you an ultimate point. And the last being picking up an ultimate orb. Most maps usually have 2, however, Fracture has 4 ultimate orbs. These are the main ways you get ultimate points. And this is how each character plays in the game on a very broad level. Alright, next I will be explaining the guns in the game of Valorant. As you can see over here, indicated by my cursor, we have the sidearms. These are the pistols in the game. These are the cheapest guns in the game. And the cheapest being the classic, which is given to you in each round. It is very cheap. It has 2 modes of fire, being the left click and right click. The left click is a single shot, while the right click is a triple burst. Then we'll move on to the shorty. It is a 200 credit sawed-off shotgun that has 2 shots, and both shots do a lot of damage. They can do enough to one-shot a person, but they need to be hit perfectly with the spread at very, very close range. The Frenzy is a 13 bullet fully automatic gun. It's a good spray weapon, but it is again 13 bullets and a pistol. Ghost, 500 credit, long range damage as well, it can shoot relatively quickly, and the Sheriff 8 bullet gun that can do 150 headshot damage, however has fall off to 140 after a certain amount of distance. Then we move on to the SMGs, being the Stinger and Spectre. Stinger has the normal right left click, as well as the scope in burst on the right click. Spectre is fully the same. We also scope. Next, we'll move on to the shotguns. It has a left click as well as right click. Click has a close range spread, and the right click has a delayed spread. Then move on to the judge, and it has 7 bullets and shoots very fast, does a lot of damage. Next, move on to the rifles. It has the most weapons in its class, being the Bulldog, Guardian, Phantom, and Vandal. Bulldog is currently 1,500 credits. The Guardian has a cost of 2,250 credits, this being a one-shot weapon that does max damage to the head. The Phantom and Vandal both cost 2,900 credits. The Phantom has a faster spray and has easier recoil, however has damage fall off, while the Vandal does not have damage fall off, but shoots significantly slower and has a harder recoil control. The Marshal is a weaker version of the Op. It is a one-shot headshot, but it does, I believe, 110 to the body. I'm not really sure of that. The Operator is a one-shot gun that does 150 to the body and can scope in from long range. And then we have the machine guns. They can penetrate through walls. Ares is 1,550, while the Odin is 3,200. Then we have the knife, and it does one shot right click to the back. When you play the game, the first round in a game is going to be a pistol round. This is true for both halves of the game when you're on the attacker side as well as the defender side. The first round of the half is a pistol round. In the pistol round, you'll be given 800 credits to buy anything that you want underneath that 800. That being half armor and a gun that costs 400, or buying a ghost, sheriff, anything of the sort, for winning that round. The losers obtain less money in that round. Thus, an economy is established. Typically, the losers of the pistol round will save and buy for the third round, essentially giving up the second round to give money for them to buy better guns in the third round. That being said, there are also 3 other strategies to buy that not always apply to just the second round, but any round in the half. Those 4 strategies being saving, buying, forcing, and half buying. Saving and buying are fairly self-explanatory. That being saving, you don't buy guns and you just play around with your basic pistols. Or buying, you buy as much as you can and you're able to afford it, and you get a basic rifle and armor. However, half buying and forcing are not as self-explanatory. Half buying, you buy basically half the amount of money you have and you save the other half, and you basically go for 2 mediocre buys. Or half your team buys and the other half does not. That is usually the 2 main definitions for half buy. That varies depending on who you talk to, but those are the basic definitions of half buy. However, forcing is when you fully buy on a round that you should not typically buy, and you're going to get weaker guns than if you save and buy the next round. That being, you buy a Stinger and armor or a Spectre and armor instead of saving and getting a rifle and armor the next round. These are the 4 main ideas to an economy as our round goes on. Alright, on the attacking side of the map, things to keep in mind are to 1. Stay in sync with teammates as they go into sight. So don't be the person that runs out just willy-nilly all by yourself. Try to go in, combo some utility, get some information, but also don't be the flip side of that and be the person hanging in the back of the pack, waiting for everyone to die, baiting the team, and then going in and dying by yourself. Another thing to keep in mind is once you plant the bomb, you have become essentially defenders, and the defenders have become attackers. Don't run into the defender spawn and try to kill them there. Defend the spike until it's about to explode, and then leave the spike if they do not come to defuse it, or you kill them all. These are things to keep in mind when on the attacking side. On the flip side, on the defending side, it's a good idea to take a balance between aggressive and passive. Aggressive being peeking into the first opening or choke point on the map, and then dipping if you see someone, take a few shots and run away. And passive being picking a spot and waiting for them to come to that choke and spraying from there. It's also a good idea to mix up where you position on the defensive side of the map. Don't always choose the same corner or behind the same box. Try to mix up where you play. Another good thing to keep in mind is to use your teammates' utility, that being using voice chat to talk to your teammates or queue with people that you know and play off their abilities. An example being having a Cypher camera just watch a choke instead of facing it and then flashing if they see somebody. That would be a good play based off your teammates' utility. And this has been the beginner's guide to Valorant. Of course, there are other things to learn, but most of the stuff you will learn while playing the game. These are the basics as to how to play the game, those being the agent roles, the economy of the game, the point of the game being attackers versus defenders, and how those different sides differ. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, have a nice day.